Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Jennifer J, and we are back for part 58 of Moving Forward and episode. I guess I'm calling it episode. I've got my timer set, and I am so sorry that I missed on Monday. I moved this past weekend to my own place. Finally, God has made a place for me, and I'm no longer at my sister's. She was so gracious to me. I stayed there 7 months, just 1 week shy of being 7 months. So that was just incredibly kind of her and her husband to let me stay there that long. A lot of the time we weren't both there at the same time. She was in Kansas for a couple of months, and then I was in Kansas for a couple of weeks, and then we'd both be there for a little while, and then she'd be gone again, and so we were hit and miss on. We weren't really there at the same time for all that much of the time during that 7 months, but it was still very, very nice of them. I now have a renter for my house in Gardner, so that's awesome, and hope that will turn out well. I pray that they're good renters and not fussy. So praying about that, and with that mortgage covered because of the renters paying for that, it allowed me to be able to have the money to come and find a place. So things are much more expensive out here. So I am working a second job at Target for a little while. I can't keep that up for very long because it's wearing me completely out. You guys, I'm 60 years old, and I work all day at my day job, and then I'm working there, and I'm on my feet all night, and I get home at about 11 o'clock, and I'm exhausted, and I can't go right to sleep. And so then I wake up late for my day job, and it's just this bad cycle. So I'm going to have to make sure I take care of my body first, and that's probably going to mean the second job is going to have to go away. But with that means the income goes away too. So I am praying about my finances. I know God has it all under His control, and so I'm just trusting Him and what He has for me to do. I am starting book 5 today. I'm so excited. We're almost caught up, to current day. We're in June, and it's actually October, so I don't know. Maybe I'm going too slow. But I wanted to talk to you today about a sermon that I heard called Keep Going, and it was really timely because, there's a lot of times that I'm here that I want to give up. And I know you guys have felt that way before, and you know what I'm talking about, but I feel like God's telling me to do something, and then I question so many things, or things don't seem to be working like I think they should, like staying at my sister's for 7 months. That was not on my agenda. And so just questioning things. And so Keep Going was really timely, and it was about Paul. And it's in Galations chapter 6. And he used verses 6 through 10. And I apologize, I don't have my Bible out and ready. I'm actually not even really sure how the lighting is here, you guys, if you can even see me. But I've just moved, and I have a lamp over there, but there's no light bulb in it. And my Bible is in the other room, and I don't have anywhere to lay it beside me or anything. So anyway, you guys can look that up, Galatians 6 through 10. And it's about Paul sharing about financial support, and he was talking about it's important, it's important to give, but it's also important to the one giving. So he was talking about he's the teacher, and that's important. It's important to teach, but it's also important for the learner to learn, and for the person that's learning has a responsibility to the teacher, to share with the teacher, to share in the ministry with the teacher, and to share with others. And so I thought that was really good, being present and attentive and passing it on and encouraging others to come and learn. And the reason I really like that is because that's what I'm going to be doing in with Arise and the East-West Ministry. You can look those up if you want to know more. But going and teaching and equipping women how to share the gospel. And so it is going to be important. My role as a teacher is going to be important, but their role as a learner and even your role as you're watching these as a learner is important, to encourage the teacher, but also to go and encourage others and to share with other people and keep passing it on, because then you become the teacher to teach others. And so it's important. So he was talking about the word of God, and taking it in context. And he said something that I don't think I'll ever forget, because he said, without the text, so the word of God is the text, right? So without the text, it's just a con, which I thought was really good, because that's the lies of the devil, right? Without the word of God, it's just lies. So we need to take it in context. We need both. We need some joy. We're going to reap what we sow. And you reap when you don't give in to temptation, when you keep going, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, even when it seems impossible. And this was good for me to review today, because I'm kind of at that kind of point, like I'm trusting God and I'm saying the words to kind of preach to myself, because it gets discouraging. But he was talking about how geese fly, in a V, and the lead goose is, let me say it correctly, the lead goose leads, but the geese behind him or her honk, and that honking supports, encourages him to keep going, or her. And then when that goose gets tired, they fall back into the line, and the next one in line takes the lead and takes over for a little while. And it's a universal problem to become weary. Even geese, when they fly, become weary, right? And the geese fly in a V. You probably have heard this before, because the way their wings flap in that formation lifts the whole group, lifts the one in the front to make it easier. So they're making it easier for the one that's leading to lead by their support. So at some point, though, that lead goose gets tired. And so then that lead goose needs to fall back and be a support and get rest, and they help push the next one. So it's a universal problem to become weary, not just geese, we get weary. And when you get tired, you need to get rest. And that was good for me to read also, because I've not been getting much rest. And so it's important for me to take care of myself. And he said, you won't always be popular. You won't always have a lot of people not elevating you, but just supporting you, I guess. Efforts get devalued. You don't see the fruit of your labor. And a lot of people in the Bible didn't see the fruit of their labor. We see it now because we can go back and read it and see what happened because of what they did, but they didn't get to see it in their lifetime. But that doesn't mean what you're doing isn't what God called you to do. So he says, just keep going. Any of these reasons, any of these excuses, these are things that Satan's going to try to use to get you to quit, right? It's not really working. It's not worth it. God didn't really tell you to do this. Look, you have nothing to show for it. You're wrong, right? All these negative things that want to come in our mind about it. But he was saying, don't grow weary, be obedient. God will give the results. It's not your responsibility. And he said it was panacea is the word for weariness. And he said there's a cure for weariness. And panacea is the Greek word. So in text it means, in due season, or when God says it, or in other words, God's timing. And we've all heard that, right? God's timing. So he says, keep going. Kairos, K-I-R-O-S, is the word in the original language for God's timing. And God is able. So you're supposed to keep going when you feel like it and when you don't. So he says his grace is sufficient for us in the middle of our circumstances. And I think of the fiery furnace, right? Meshach. I can't think of their names now. Abednego. You know the other one. Just type it on the line because my brain is tired. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. There we go. And yet there were 4 in the fiery furnace, right? Jesus was in there with them. So in the middle of your circumstances, no matter how bad they are, most of us are not getting thrown into a literal fiery furnace, but be willing to, which is kind of scary. So I was put in the middle of a fiery hot Phoenix summer, but nothing like the fiery furnace. I can't even really compare that. That's not even a good comparison. But no matter where he puts you in your circumstances, you can trust him. He is able, and his timing is perfect. So stand on his promises. There is no failure in God. There's no failure. It might look like, on a human perspective, that it's failure because people can't see the fruit of what you're doing. You might not be able to see the fruit of what you're doing, but if you know that God told you to do it, none of that matters, because he has a reason and he's accomplishing his purposes, and we might not see them this side of heaven, but we have to trust him. So if he's told you, then you have to trust him. And I think I said this in the last one. I'm not sure. Or I put it in a social media post. I think that's more accurate. If you follow my stories, I do stories way more than I ever post. So if you follow my stories, that the only way to hear from God is to be close to God and to draw near to God. If you draw near to God, he will draw near to you. That's what he promises in his word. So drawing near to him means you have to spend time with him, right? You have to be in the word, and you have to be reading it and praying, fasting from time to time. Yes, I know it's hard, but he doesn't say if you fast, he says when you fast. He expects us to fast on a regular basis when you fast. And so we need to fast and pray and talk to him and spend time with him. And you have to make it an appointment. You have to be intentional. Find a time of day that works, and it might take some doing. Some people can do it before work. Other people do it on their lunch break. Other people do it in the evening. Other people do it just whenever. There's different times of day that works for different people, but you have to figure out your routine and figure out when it works for you, and then you need to be intentional about it. I like first thing in the morning because I want to start my day that way every day. I want to start my day that way. But if morning you don't have a lot of time, or you're not a morning person or whatever, you can start your day with prayer and commune with him before your feet hit the floor, and then take a different time of day to meditate on his word. And that's okay. There's no rules. It's just draw near to me. He doesn't say draw near to me in the morning. He just says draw near to me. Like, come on, make a plan and stick to it, and put a reminder on your phone. Did I have my quiet time today? Make it a priority. For me, that is the priority. If I'm late for work, I'm late for work. If I miss a date with my sister or my friends or whatever, then I miss it. If I don't go get my mail that day because that's 10 minutes away and whatever. I mean, you just have to make it a priority and say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what's important to me. And so I would encourage you this week to do that. Don't grow weary. Always abound in doing what's good. And take heart, because his timing is perfect and he knows what he's doing. And if he's called you to it, he's going to see you through it. I was getting really worried about my finances the other day, and I was knowing I was probably going to need to quit working at Target for my health, and not knowing how I'm going to make ends meet if I do that. And my friend just texted me and said, if God brought you to the Red Sea, he's going to make a way through it. And that was, it was just real. Those were the perfect words, because I know he brought me here, and so I know he's going to see me through it. And that was really good timing and good advice. So encouragement, again, being a supporter, and that's what they were doing for me. So I appreciate all you guys and all your comments and your encouraging words to me as I try to do what God has called me to do. I will be in Kansas if you're watching this in real time. I'll be in Kansas October 12th through 22nd. And I plan to be at my daughter's house one of those nights. And I would love for you to come out. I am going to be doing a fundraiser of sorts for my new ministry, but I will also be praying and visiting with friends and telling you about the ministry. So if you want to come and hear about it, I would love to visit with you. And in the meantime, I hope that you will be in the Word. Type it on the line and tell me what time of day you guys spend with God. I would love to know that too. And until then, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.